Ethan's ship drifted silently through the violet clouds of the distant star system. Outside, the swirling gases of the nebula glowed softly, painting the cabin in shades of purple and blue. He stared out the viewport, feeling a mix of awe and tension. This mission was different. It was not a simple exploration this time. Humanity itself was a curiosity to an entire galaxy. The ship's AI, Arya, beeped softly, approaching surface of planet Zalara. Atmospheric conditions stable. Estimated time to landing, 5 minutes. Ethan adjusted his seat, checking his equipment. The landing gear hummed as the ship descended, and the surface came into view. Dense forest of iridescent trees, rivers that shimmered like liquid crystal, and mountains that seemed to float above the clouds. He had seen many planets in his life, but Zalara felt alive. Every color, every movement seemed almost aware of him. As the ship touched down, Ethan activated his environmental suit. Its sensors confirmed the air was breathable, but alien flora emitted subtle energy pulses that his suit warned could be hazardous. He took a deep breath, feeling the thrill of being one of the very few humans ever on this planet. Stepping outside, Ethan's boots sank slightly into the soft moss-like ground. The air was heavy with a sweet, unfamiliar scent, and distant calls echoed from creatures hidden among the towering trees. He felt both small and special. He was, after all, a human, and humans were considered rare across the stars. Most alien civilizations had only legends of humans, spoken in hushed tones about their resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability. Ethan, Arya's voice sounded in his helmet, calm and precise. Unknown life forms detected approximately 2 kilometers ahead. Recommend caution. Ethan nodded, moving carefully through the forest. He had trained for encounters like this, but no training could fully prepare him for the reality of an alien world. Then, through the mist, he saw a figure tall, lithe, with shimmering armor that seemed to reflect the forest around her. Her eyes glowed faintly, scanning him with sharp intensity. He froze. She was an alien, but unlike any species he had encountered. Her movements were precise, almost predatory, yet there was a grace that suggested discipline and intelligence. She held a weapon not pointed at him yet, but ready. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice melodic but firm. "State your purpose here." Ethan raised his hand slightly, a universal gesture of peace. "I'm Ethan, a human explorer. I come in peace, seeking knowledge and contact. I mean no harm." Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "Humans are rare." There was a moment of hesitation, a hint of wonder in her voice. "I have never seen one in my life. You are to be monitored. I will accompany you." Ethan blinked, surprised. "Monitored? You mean you'll guard me?" She nodded. "Humans are precious, vulnerable, yet resilient. I must ensure you do not fall into danger." He wasn't sure if he should be honored or nervous. Being considered a rare species felt strange, almost like being a living artifact. But there was no time to dwell. Zalara was full of mysteries, and danger might lurk in every shadow. They began moving together through the forest. Lyra's steps were silent, yet every move seemed deliberate, controlled. Ethan tried to keep up, his human legs less efficient than her alien physique. But he marveled at her skill. She navigated the uneven ground effortlessly, pointing out subtle dangers he would have missed. "Watch the ground," she instructed, stopping suddenly. Ethan saw faint tendrils moving beneath the moss. A small creature, barely larger than his hand, was camouflaged perfectly. It hissed, retracting its spines when Lyra waved a hand. "You see?" she said. "Even the smallest here can kill a careless explorer. Humans must be careful." Ethan nodded, a mix of admiration and humility filling him. He realized that being rare did not just make him special, it made him a target. He would have to rely on both his wits and Lyra's protection. As they ventured deeper, Ethan tried to communicate more about himself. "I come from Earth," he said, "a planet far from here. Humans, we adapt. We survive in difficult places. We learn fast." Lyra regarded him silently. "Your kind is unusual. Stories speak of human courage and cunning. Perhaps that is why you are still alive in this galaxy." Ethan smiled, feeling a spark of pride. "I do what I must to survive." And I tried to understand, too. For hours, they moved through the forests. Ethan began to notice how Lyra's gaze often lingered on him, not in a hostile way, but with curiosity and caution. He guessed she had never seen anyone like him, and he could not deny that the feeling was mutual. He had never met an alien so skilled, so disciplined, yet so thoughtful. Finally, they reached a clearing. In the center was a crystalline pool, glowing faintly with energy. The water was alive with bioluminescent organisms that shimmered as if dancing to a silent rhythm. Lyra stopped at the edge, her eyes reflecting the pool's light. "This is a sacred place," she said. "We come here to understand life and energy. Even humans may benefit from observing." Ethan knelt by the water, watching the creatures. "It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like this." Lyra studied him, then nodded. "You are cautious, yet curious. This is good. Humans often rush recklessly, but you watch, you learn." Ethan looked at her. "You really think humans are rare?" She smiled faintly, a gesture almost foreign to her serious demeanor. "Yes, in a galaxy of thousands of civilizations, very few humans remain. Those who survive are remarkable. You may be extraordinary." Ethan felt a mix of pride and responsibility. Being extraordinary sounded good, but it also meant he carried expectations he barely understood. Suddenly, the pool rippled violently. Ethan jumped back as a creature leapt from the water, a large amphibious predator, with glimmering scales and multiple eyes. Its jaws opened wide, aiming for him. Lyra reacted instantly, her movements a blur. With a precise motion, she struck the creature with a beam from her weapon, stunning it without killing. The predator sank back into the pool, retreating with a hiss. "You are not safe," she said calmly. Turning to Ethan, "Even here, even near sacred places, danger follows. That is why I am assigned to you. You must survive." Ethan nodded, his heart pounding. He realized she wasn't just guarding him as duty, she was protecting a life that the galaxy itself considered rare and valuable. It made him feel seen, like his existence mattered beyond his own world. As the sun of Zalara began to set, casting golden light across the alien forest, Ethan felt a sense of connection. He had arrived as an explorer, uncertain and cautious. But now, with Lyra by his side, he felt a strange sense of purpose. Being rare was not just about standing out, it was about proving that humans, even one human, could face the unknown and survive. Lyra watched him silently as they set up a temporary shelter. She had no idea why she felt a protective bond, but she knew it was real. Humans were unusual, unpredictable, and yet fascinating. And Ethan had something about him that made her believe he was worth guarding like treasure. As night fell, the glowing flora illuminated the forest in a soft, surreal light. Ethan lay awake, thinking of Earth, of his people, and of the strange alien guardian who now shared his journey. Somewhere in that quiet, he realized that this mission was no longer just about exploration. It was about proving that humans, rare as they were, could survive, adapt, and even earn respect in a galaxy full of wonders and dangers. Lyra, standing watch at the edge of their camp, felt the same. Humans were precious, and she would ensure this one survived. Whatever came next, she would guard him. He had become more than a visitor. He had become something rare in itself, a human worth protecting. The forest whispered around them, alive with unseen creatures. And in that moment, two beings from different worlds understood a single truth in the vast galaxy. Life was rare, and those who were rare were treasures, and Ethan, the human, was about to prove why. Morning light broke through the towering alien trees, scattering golden rays across the forest floor. Ethan stretched, feeling the stiffness in his muscles from the previous day's trek. The forest was alive with sounds, strange calls, rustling leaves, and the quiet hum of energy from the flora. He glanced at Lyra, who was already on her feet, scanning the horizon with unwavering focus. "Morning," Ethan said, his voice still rough from sleep. Lyra nodded, acknowledging him, but said nothing. Her gaze remained alert, tracking every movement of the forest. She moved with a grace that made every human motion seem slow in comparison. Ethan marveled at her skill. Humans were considered fragile in the galaxy, Yet he had learned that Lyra respected his kind for more than just physical strength. There was something in her eyes of recognition that he was different, capable in ways many beings would not expect. Their path took them deeper into the forest. The trees grew taller, their trunks twisting like spirals, their leaves glimmering with faint light. Strange creatures peeked from the shadows, curious yet cautious. Ethan kept close to Lyra, observing her techniques for moving silently. She rarely spoke, but when she did, her voice was precise, controlled, and commanding. "Watch your step," she said, pointing to a series of small, glowing plants. "They may seem harmless, but their spores can cause hallucinations." Ethan carefully stepped around them, realizing that every step in this forest carried potential danger. He admired Lyra's vigilance. Humans often rushed into situations without full awareness, but she taught him to pause, to observe, to think. It was a lesson he quickly adopted. As they moved, Lyra began to test Ethan not with words, but with situations. She guided him through narrow passages filled with thorn vines, teaching him how to react quickly when a branch snapped or a hidden creature moved. Ethan's adaptability surprised her. Humans were known for ingenuity, but he was exceptional in his ability to adjust, to learn from mistakes, and to act decisively. By midday, they reached a cliff overlooking a vast valley. Below, a river sparkled with the same crystalline glow as the pool from the previous day. Strange, winged creatures soared above the water, diving and twisting in synchronized patterns. "Beautiful," Ethan whispered, unable to hide his awe. Lyra glanced at him. "Humans often see beauty where others see only danger. That is why your kind survives. You notice what others ignore." Ethan smiled. "I guess it helps to stay alive, to pay attention to everything." Lyra allowed a small nod, a rare gesture of approval. "Yes, observation is survival. Adaptation is survival. You may be human, but you understand this instinctively." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden noise, a low, vibrating hum coming from the valley below. Ethan's heart raced. Lyra immediately crouched, signaling him to do the same. "What is it?" Ethan asked quietly. "Creatures of the river," Lyra said, her eyes narrowing. "They are territorial. If we descend too quickly, they may attack." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling the tension in the air. The valley was beautiful, but beauty could hide deadly surprises. He followed Lyra's lead as she carefully guided him down a safe path. Every step was measured, every movement controlled. Suddenly, one of the winged creatures swooped close, its glowing talons extended. Ethan instinctively ducked, rolling to the side as Lyra fired a warning shot from her energy weapon. The creature screeched, retreating with a blur of light. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest, but Lyra's calm presence reassured him. "You react well under pressure," she said. "Most humans would panic." Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. "I guess I've learned that panicking doesn't help anyone survive." Lyra studied him for a moment. "Perhaps your species is underestimated. Humans are rare, yes, but exceptional humans are even rarer." As the day went on, Ethan began to feel a strange sense of camaraderie with Lyra. She was his protector, his guide, but also his teacher. He was learning skills that went beyond mere survival. He was learning to see the world in ways that no human on Earth could imagine. By evening, they reached a small settlement of the native aliens, an organized community of beings with translucent skin and glowing patterns that shifted with emotion. The aliens regarded Ethan cautiously. He could feel their curiosity, their subtle fear of a human presence. Lyra stepped forward, speaking in their language. Ethan couldn't understand the words, but the aliens listened respectfully. Lyra then turned to him. "They are cautious because humans are rare," she explained. "Some believe humans are dangerous. Others see potential." Ethan nodded. "I hope they see the potential, not the danger." Lyra's gaze softened ever so slightly. "You are proving yourself already. But this is only the beginning. Danger often comes when you are least prepared. Remember that." That night, Ethan and Lyra set up camp near the settlement. Ethan tried to sleep, but he couldn't stop thinking about the alien world, the creatures, and Lyra's protective presence. He realized that being rare brought both privilege and risk. Humans were treasured, yes, but that also meant enemies would seek them out. Lyra remained vigilant, her eyes scanning the dark forest even as Ethan drifted to sleep. She had never felt this way about anyone, not even her fellow aliens. Humans were unpredictable, fragile in appearance yet strong in spirit. Ethan was rare, and she had come to care about his safety in a way that went beyond duty. The next morning, they were awakened by a commotion in the settlement. A group of alien children had gathered near the edge of the forest, pointing and whispering. Ethan saw small, glowing creatures emerging from the underbrush, curious but cautious. "They are testing you," Lyra said quietly. "The children of this world often assess newcomers. Humans are unusual, and you are no exception." Ethan approached slowly, showing no fear. The creatures watched him, then slowly backed away. Lyra observed silently, her expression unreadable. "You remain calm," she said. "That is good. Humans often show fear, but you show control." By midday, Ethan had gained the tentative trust of the local aliens. He realized that his behavior mattered as much as his physical presence. Humans might be rare, but his actions proved he was worth guarding, worth respecting. Lyra led him to a nearby training area, a natural arena formed by giant stone pillars. She wanted him to practice defensive skills, not just for survival, but to understand the balance between humans and alien strengths. "Your kind relies on tools and ingenuity," she explained. "Our kind relies on strength and discipline. You must learn to combine both to survive." Ethan listened carefully as she demonstrated defensive moves, then tried them himself. He stumbled at first, but Lyra's corrections were precise, patient, and encouraging. Each success gave him confidence, each failure taught humility. Hours passed, and by sunset, Ethan felt a sense of accomplishment. Lyra's eyes betrayed a hint of admiration. Humans were not just rare, they were capable of learning, of adapting, of excelling in ways that even some alien warriors could not dot as they sat by a small fire. Lyra finally spoke in a quieter tone. "Humans are treasures, not because of power, but because of spirit. You have survived where many would fail. That is why I guard you." Ethan looked at her, understanding the depth of her words. He was not just a visitor in this galaxy, he was a rare being, recognized for courage, adaptability, and intelligence. And Lyra's presence reminded him that he was not alone. In that moment, a silent bond formed between them. Lyra's duty had become personal. Ethan's journey was no longer just exploration, it was survival, growth, and trust. And in a world full of unknown dangers, he had found someone who believed in him, who valued him, and who would guard him like a treasure. As night fell, the stars above Zalara twinkled brightly. Ethan felt a strange sense of belonging. This planet was alien, yes, but it had already taught him much. And with Lyra by his side, he knew he could face whatever the galaxy would throw at him next. Humans were rare, but Ethan was proving that a single human could be remarkable. And Lyra, the warrior who had been assigned to watch him, knew that she would protect this rare being, no matter the cost. The next morning, Ethan awoke to a sharp, humming vibration under the ground. He sat up quickly, scanning the surroundings. Lyra was already standing, eyes narrowed, scanning the horizon. "Trouble," she said. Her voice calm but firm. "Move quietly." Ethan nodded, heart pounding. He had grown used to the alien forest, but danger was never far. Lyra guided him through the dense underbrush, using hand signals and silent movements. Even small cracks of twigs or distant calls of creatures could alert predators or worse, rival aliens who might see humans as valuable. Hours into their trek, they reached a rocky canyon. The air was sharp and cool, the walls steep and jagged. Lyra stopped, crouching behind a boulder. Ethan followed instinctively, trying to mirror her movements. "Enemy faction," Lyra whispered. "They know a human is here. Humans are rare, and they want to capture or study you." Ethan's stomach tightened. Humans were indeed rare, but he had never imagined that rarity could make him a target for aggression. "What do they want with me?" he asked softly. "They value humans as unusual specimens," Lyra said. "To them, you are treasure, and treasure must be protected." Ethan swallowed hard. He had always known humans were unique, but now the reality hit him. His very life was worth fighting for. Suddenly, Movement flickered at the edge of the canyon. Ethan could see shadowy figures, tall and sleek, moving with precision. They carried strange weapons that emitted faint pulses of energy. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Stay close. Do not panic. Follow my lead." Ethan nodded, keeping his breathing slow. Lyra led him along a narrow ledge, using hand gestures to guide him. One wrong step could send them tumbling down the jagged rocks. The enemy faction was fast, but Lyra was faster. Her movements were almost a blur, calculated and graceful. Ethan struggled to keep up, but he focused on her instructions. A sudden shout from the enemy alerted them. Ethan froze, but Lyra didn't hesitate. She fired a beam from her weapon, precise and non-lethal. That knocked the device from their pursuer's hand. The enemy paused, giving Lyra and Ethan a chance to move forward. "You are quick to learn," Lyra said quietly. "Most humans would stumble. You adapt. That is why I protect you." Ethan felt a surge of determination. It wasn't just about survival, it was about proving that humans could face danger. Even in a galaxy full of predators, the pursuit led them to a dense grove of glowing trees. Ethan could barely see, but Lyra moved with confidence. Suddenly, a trap triggered beneath them. A net made of energy strands shot up, trying to ensnare them. Ethan stumbled, but Lyra caught his arm and pulled him out of harm's way. "Keep your focus," she commanded. "Observe, anticipate." Ethan's heart raced, but he concentrated, watching every movement, every subtle sign. When the next trap activated, he dodged instinctively, surprising even himself. Lyra glanced at him, a faint smile in her eyes. "You are learning fast," she said. "That is human adaptability. Rare, but effective." They continued, facing multiple ambushes, tricky terrain, and strange creatures attracted by the disturbance. Ethan realized that survival here required both courage and intelligence. It wasn't enough to rely on strength. He had to think, to anticipate, and to act decisively. Finally, they reached a narrow bridge spanning a deep chasm. The enemy faction was close behind. Ethan felt the bridge sway under their weight, and he hesitated. Lyra's voice cut through the tension. "Step carefully, one at a time. Trust your instincts." Ethan nodded, focusing on each step. He moved slowly, feeling the bridge beneath his feet, listening to its creaks and shifts. Halfway across, a pulsing device triggered a minor collapse. Ethan lost his balance for a moment, but Lyra's hand shot out, steadying him. "You rely too much on luck," she said softly. "Use skill and focus. You are human." "Yes, but humans survive because they think, not just hope." Ethan steadied himself, moving with renewed caution. Lyra followed, always just behind him, shielding him from unseen dangers. By the time they reached the other side, the enemy faction had temporarily fallen back, deterred by the difficult terrain and Lyra's skilled defense. Breathing heavily, Ethan looked at Lyra. I couldn't have done this without you." She studied him, her expression unreadable. "You could have adapted on your own, eventually. But humans are rare, and survival often requires allies. I am your ally. That is why I guard you." The bond between them strengthened. Ethan realized that Lyra's protection was not just duty, it was respect and recognition of his rarity. He felt pride, yes, but also responsibility. If humans were rare and valuable, then he had to live up to that reputation. As evening approached, they found shelter in a small cave. Ethan tended minor injuries, while Lyra kept watch. Silence filled the space, but it was not uncomfortable. The events of the day had forged a trust that words could not fully express. "You move well under pressure," Lyra said finally, breaking the silence. "Many humans would panic, or worse, make mistakes that cost them their lives. You are different. That is why you are rare. That is why I guard you." Ethan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. It was not flattery, she meant every word. Humans were scarce across the stars, and someone like him, resilient, clever, and adaptable, was even rarer. Lyra's presence reminded him that he was not just surviving for himself, but also representing his species. Night fell, and the cave was bathed in the soft glow of alien bioluminescence. Ethan tried to sleep, but his mind raced. He thought about the dangers they had faced, the skill and courage required to survive, and the strange bond forming between him and Lyra. Humans were rare, yes, but he realized that rarity alone did not guarantee survival. It was courage, intelligence, and adaptability that mattered. Lyra remained vigilant, standing at the cave entrance like a sentinel. She had protected many beings before, but Ethan was different. Humans were unpredictable, fragile in appearance yet strong in spirit. He had proven his resourcefulness, his bravery, and his ability to adapt. He was a rare treasure, and she would ensure he survived, no matter the cost. The next morning, they continued their journey. The canyon gave way to rolling plains dotted with glowing flora and strange alien structures. Ethan marveled at the landscape, but he never let his guard down. Lyra's presence reminded him constantly of the dangers that lurked. They were ambushed once more, this time by a larger group of hostile aliens armed with energy weapons. Ethan's heart raced, but he followed Lyra's instructions perfectly. Together, they navigated the attack, using strategy and skill rather than brute force. Lyra's respect for him deepened. He was rare, yes, but he was also capable of holding his own. After the encounter, Lyra spoke quietly. "You have learned much. Humans are underestimated, yet they endure, adapt, and often surpass expectations. You exemplify this." Ethan felt a strange warmth at her words. Humans had always faced challenges, but to be recognized by an alien warrior for his courage and skill was an honor. He had never expected. As they settled for the night, Ethan realized something important. Lyra's protection was more than a duty, it was recognition. Humans were rare, exceptional, and worth guarding, and he, one human, had proven that even against overwhelming odds, humans could survive, adapt, and earn respect across the galaxy. The stars above Zelara shone brilliantly, each one a reminder of the vastness of space and the uniqueness of life. Ethan felt a sense of pride, responsibility, and determination. He was rare, he was valuable, and with Lyra guarding him, he was ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store next. Humans were rare, but Ethan had proven that even one human could be remarkable. And Lyra, the warrior who had become more than a guardian, more than a teacher, would protect him always. The next morning, Ethan and Lyra stood on the edge of a vast plateau, overlooking a shimmering city built into the cliffs. Alien spires rose like crystal towers, catching the sunlight and scattering it across the valley below. The city was alive with movement. Beings of all shapes and sizes walked along suspended bridges. Gliding vehicles hummed through the air, and energy fields pulsed softly along the streets. "This is the capital," Lyra said, her voice steady but with a hint of pride. "The council awaits your presence. They will judge you, and humans, by extension." Ethan swallowed, feeling a mixture of anxiety and excitement. He had survived ambushes, navigated dangerous terrain, and learned the ways of the alien world. But now he faced the judgment of a civilization that considered humans rare and unpredictable. "Are they expecting me to fail?" he asked quietly. Lyra shook her head. "They expect a human. Rare, fragile, yet capable. Your actions will speak louder than words. You have already proven much." Together, they descended into the city. Citizens paused to stare at Ethan, their expressions a mix of curiosity and respect. He could feel their attention, their awareness that humans were unusual and significant. Lyra walked beside him, her presence a shield and reassurance. They entered the council chamber, a vast hall filled with beings of every imaginable form. At the center, the council elders regarded him with sharp, evaluating eyes. Ethan felt a wave of tension but held his head high. One elder, a tall being with luminous skin, stepped forward. "You are human," the voice echoed in the chamber, translated through Lyra's device. "Rare, resilient, and now present in our world. Many have doubted humans. Tell us, why should your species be respected?" Ethan took a deep breath. He remembered the lessons Lyra had taught him: observation, adaptation, courage. Humans survive because we learn. We face danger and adapt. We do not give up when challenges are great. I may be one human, but even one human can make a difference, can survive in ways others might not expect. The council remained silent for a moment. Studying him, Lyra's gaze met his, and he felt her silent approval. He realized that she had already shown the council why humans were rare and valuable. But he had to demonstrate it himself. Another elder spoke. Your survival in the forest, your response to threats, your learning of our ways, these are remarkable for a human. Few could endure such trials. Ethan felt a surge of pride, tempered by humility. I have survived because of guidance. Lyra has protected me, taught me. Humans may be rare, but we are not isolated. Cooperation, respect, and trust make us stronger. Lyra's eyes softened. She had seen humans endure, adapt, and rise to challenges time and again. But hearing Ethan articulate it with such clarity filled her with admiration. Rare or not, humans could inspire loyalty, respect, and trust. Ethan was proof of that. The council deliberated for several hours. Ethan waited, trying to remain calm, but his heart raced. He thought of all the dangers he had faced, the ambushes, the predators, the treacherous terrain, and he realized how much he had grown. Humans were rare, yes, but they were also capable of extraordinary courage and ingenuity. Finally, the council spoke. Human Ethan, you have proven that your species is not only rare, but remarkable. You adapt, you endure, and you show respect for life beyond your own world. You are to be honored, and your survival is recognized as an example for all. A wave of relief and pride washed over him. Ethan had not only survived, he had earned the respect of a civilization that had never truly encountered humans. He glanced at Lyra, whose expression was one of quiet satisfaction. She had always believed in his potential, and now others did too. As a gesture of recognition, the council presented him with a ceremonial insignia, a small crystal that glowed softly with energy. It symbolized rare life forms worthy of protection. Ethan accepted it humbly, aware that it was not just for him, it was a testament to humanity. Lyra guided him back to the forest's edge. You have proven yourself, she said. Humans are not just rare. They are capable of greatness, and you are exceptional. Ethan looked at her, gratitude shining in his eyes. I couldn't have done it without you. You taught me, protected me, believed in me. She nodded. It is my duty to protect you, yes, but it is also my choice. You are rare, valuable, and worth guarding. That is not just duty, it is respect. For a moment, they stood in silence, listening to the forest around them. The wind whispered through the alien trees, and distant creatures called softly. Ethan realized that this world, so strange and dangerous, had become a place of growth and recognition. He was no longer just an explorer, he was a rare human, respected, capable, and protected. As the time to return to human space approached, Ethan felt a mixture of excitement and sadness. He had survived, earned respect, and formed a bond with Lyra, but he would be leaving this alien world soon. Lyra walked beside him to the landing site. You will return to your people, she said, but remember this, humans are rare, and exceptional humans are rarer. You have proven that even one human can be remarkable. That is why I guard you, why I will always value your life. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had grown, adapted, and survived challenges that few humans could face. But he had also learned the importance of trust, guidance, and courage. He realized that being rare was not just about being unusual, it was about living in a way that earned recognition, respect, and protection. As his ship ascended, Lyra watched from the forest edge. Her eyes followed him until the vessel disappeared into the sky. She felt a deep sense of pride. Humans were rare, yes, but Ethan had proven that rarity could become greatness. In space, Ethan gazed at the stars, thinking of the lessons he had learned and the bond he had formed with Lyra. He understood now why humans were considered exceptional in the galaxy. It was not just physical strength or intelligence, it was courage, adaptability, and the willingness to face danger with determination. Lyra's voice echoed in his memory. You are a treasure, Ethan, rare and valuable. Never forget that. He smiled, feeling a warmth he could not fully describe. Humans were rare, and he was proud to represent his species. But more than that, he had earned respect, formed trust, and survived against overwhelming odds. As the stars stretched endlessly around him, Ethan realized that the galaxy was full of dangers, wonders, and unknown life. Yet, he was ready. Humans were rare, but he had proven that a single human, with courage, intelligence, and resilience, could face the unknown and emerge victorious. And somewhere, on the alien world below, Lyra remained vigilant. She had guarded Ethan when it mattered most, and she knew that humans, especially one like him, were treasures beyond measure. She would continue to watch, always. The mission had ended, but the bond remained. Ethan, the rare human, had not only survived, he had thrived, proving that even a single human could leave a mark on the galaxy. And Lyra, the Guardian, had ensured that this rare human would live to continue proving it. The stars shone brilliantly, and in their light, Ethan felt the quiet but undeniable truth. Humans were rare, remarkable, and capable of greatness. And for the first time in his life, he fully understood what it meant to be truly valuable, not just to himself, but to an entire galaxy.